Hey everybody, Weem here. Welcome to Stonehearth, the alpha version. This actually just released today. This is a game I've been pretty excited about. Actually funded this through Kickstarter, I want to say sometime during the summer or maybe even earlier this year, and I've been following the development pretty closely. Watched some of their streams they had on Twitch during development. Even threw a question out there about naming your citizens, being able to give them a custom name, to which they responded and said that would be pretty easy to do, and yes, they could probably do that. They may just do that. So pretty exciting. I like that idea. But yeah, so you've got kind of this big world here, right? And we've got to get our people down. Now, what this game is kind of about is exploration and surviving in this fantasy setting. So let's kind of get started, and then I'll get into a little bit more of that. Now, the first thing we need to do is put down a spot for our home. We have a lot of places to choose from. It's a pretty big open world here. But we're just going to go ahead and place it right here on the edge of this tree line. I think this is a cool spot. Now, that actually puts down our villagers here. I guess settlers? I'm actually not exactly sure what they're calling these guys right now. But, so we've got these guys down here, and now it's telling us to set up our base camp. So we can drag out a region on the ground and basically make a stockpile. And this is where they're going to go. They're going to bring resources that they gather. So let's go ahead and put this here. We'll drag out an area. That'll work. Now it's telling us that we're pretty much on our own. No problem. So these guys have got the stockpile set up. We can actually click on it, and you can see we can edit it or remove it. If we edit it, we can choose what resources go here. So let's go ahead and change this to wood. So they'll start putting wood here. Now, they won't actually start getting wood until we tell them to, and the way we do that is to select a tree, and you can see we can click on the axe, or we can hit the number 1. So I'm going to hit 1, select 1. We'll do a big one in here, maybe the one behind it. Maybe do a little pathway through here and leave this set of trees. That's 4. There's 5 trees. We've got 5 settlers. So they're going to go gather that and bring everything back to the stockpile. So like I was saying, the game's about exploration and survival. Your job is to, as the description goes here, is to help your small group of settlers. They are indeed calling them. So we've got to help them carve out a place for themselves in this hostile land. So we're going to have to get food, we're going to have shelter, and we are going to have to kind of help them defend themselves so that they can grow and expand their territory. Now, this being alpha and having just come out, there really isn't a whole lot we can do. They have a list of the things you can do here in alpha, and that's essentially the basic crafting. We'll get into that here in just a second. Harvesting resources, which you're seeing, and they're going to do things. You can see they've got icons over their heads, so if they've got food in a stockpile, they're going to eat when they're hungry, they're going to sleep when they're tired, and they're going to start a fire over here if they get cold. So those are kind of the basics for now. There is some construction in place there's a couple structures, I think. Yeah, a basic wall and a simple room. And and one of the other features they say can be found is lots of bugs, of course, right? So let's see, they've got a fire going. They've pretty much gathered those trees. I don't know if these will take longer in the future, but right now they pretty much come down very quickly. We'll say to take this one down. Now we're going to pan out because they can gather berries, and I think that's what these are. I think that's these. So we may have to wait and get those in the morning. Oh, here's some. We've got actually have some nearby. So let's see. Let's make a new stockpile. How about that? So we're going to build a stockpile. And the wood one is kind of near the fire. We'll just do this one over here. And then we're going to select it and tell it that it's for food and drink. Basically fruits and vegetables. And then we can go ahead and start clicking these. 1, 2. Now these ones don't have an icon over them, I noticed, like the trees do. But they do seem to come over and get these, so that's cool. Now I've only done pretty much what you've seen here is what I've done previously, just to get an idea of the controls. And in that brief period, I did see some bugs. They weren't picking things up. You can see they're hungry, so they're gathering and sitting and eating. Not necessarily a bug, but just kind of noting that. activity. But they should be able to gather this stuff up and store it over here. You'll notice that these bushes don't actually go away, they just take the resources from them, so that's pretty cool, unlike the trees. So let's kind of go through here. We can build stockpiles. There is a workshop that can be built, so let's check that out. There's only one right now. So the carpenter makes things from wood, and you'll need quite a lot of wood. So honestly, you should make this guy first. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and place this right over here by the fire. And then that crafter stockpile there needs to be a stockpile made for this crafter, essentially. So we'll go ahead and just drop a small one here. Yeah, it's fine. We'll start really small. Cool. So we can also place an item, although we don't have anything right now. Yeah, when I click it, it says there's nothing to place. So we can go to structures, though, and put up a simple room. So this is what this looks like. And currently there's a known bug that the roof actually doesn't get completed on these. So we will note that. But we've selected the ground, and we'll crash. That's what's going to happen. Well, it is alpha, and there are many known issues, and that kind of stuff's to be expected. But I kind of got us back where we were. I've got a wood stockpile, a food stockpile, and I was able to place the structure this time. So as I was saying before, the roof won't be finished on this. That's a known bug, but they will build up the walls and everything. Of course, I need to get these guys gathering some wood this time. I started with food this time around, but we will get them going on some wood here. So obviously we're in a slightly different location in having to reboot the game, or essentially, start the game back up from the crash. It randomly generates your area, so we're in a new spot. But you can see we're near some kind of mountains over there, and yeah, lots of wood, lots of trees. So I'm very excited to see how this game progresses. I love the idea of this game, basically having these settlers, and they will have children, they'll grow in population, and you'll end up being able to have really big cities and having a lot of stuff to manage, which is pretty sweet. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and especially with like new terrain stuff, rivers, seas, things of that nature. They have some multiplayer stuff planned, which should be pretty cool. I think that's where things will get really fun. And they had some ideas during the development days that they were streaming that sounded really cool. We don't know that they're actually going to pan out that way. They just had some ideas. For example, being able to build up a large city, and then you can connect multiplayer was their idea, to connect to somebody else, and you basically connect your cities, but your cities that end up getting connected, or your world essentially gets attached to somebody else's world, so you can cross over and fight each other and things like that. But the cool thing they said was they liked the idea of, in that scenario, it was a copy of your city. So you kind of had your single player city, whatever you built up here, and when you went to multiplayer, it just kind of made a copy of it, so that if the other player or players came and completely wiped out your city, it actually didn't wipe out kind of the main copy of your city. You could always go back to that and continue where you left off, and progress it more, and connect to multiplayer again later. So I liked that kind of stuff. There's probably a lot of technology in there that could be a little bit hard to get worked out. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit complicated, but these guys have done some of this stuff in the past, some pretty complex multiplayer related things, and it's been a while now, so I don't quite recall the exact games that they were dealing with, but I know that they had some, I think it was a fighting game. I don't want to say Street Fighter. Man, I'm going to be wrong now. Some fighting game, and they did the technology behind the multiplayer element there. So they do have some experience in that regard. So when they're talking about these possibilities, I feel somewhat confident that there's a good possibility of seeing some of these things pan out. They had a whole bunch of ideas, a lot of really cool sounding stuff, so I'm going to be really excited to see how that progresses. Now, right now they're bringing the wood in here, and they're not putting it in the wood stockpile. Well, she just did. But that's probably because they're just taking it right to the structure here to have it built, so that's pretty cool. This one's sitting here eating. I guess she got hungry, or these two hanging out here. So right now you can actually click on them and see their names down here. You go. Jess Hunterton. So eventually what's going to happen is not only will they have children, the population grow, you also have a lot more structures to build, a lot more possibilities. In some of the videos they had some really cool examples of varying shapes, including making multiple levels, 2 floors, 3 floor, buildings, castle type structures. But in addition to that, there will actually be classes. So I don't recall if this guy here, I'm trying to read over on my other monitor here because I thought it might have said something. Basic item crafting with our first profession, the Carpenter. So there's going to be these professions, and I believe one of them is actually going to be like a summoner type. So it's kind of like a magician or something, but who can do things with the terrain. But I would imagine that will play out in combat as well. So you'll have these different professions and everything. So it's pretty cool. Let's see, they're heading off to get more wood. So what's this symbol above your head? What do you have going on? Oh, she's tired. So she's going to take a nap. Now this thing's kind of glowing. I'm not really sure if we click that. What's this say? Promote. Okay, promotion to Carpenter. So we get to choose a citizen for this. Okay, so we chose Jess Hunter. Oh, look at this. Click to approve. There we go. So she is going to be a carpenter. Now I don't know exactly what this means. She's walking over here. Oh yeah. This raises up and she takes that. So she is now a carpenter. Now where's she going? Okay, so looks like we can just approve the one. But we may be able to build some more stuff now. Let's actually look at that. So we can build, probably not another workshop. It's probably not what we want. Let's see if there's new structures. No. Okay, well, it may be that that kind of stuff is coming later. We'll have to keep an eye out for it. But, let's see, we've got a lot of food coming up. Let's get more of this gathered. Food's important. And I think we'll try to put down another structure here. Let's try and get another one started. Cross our fingers and hope it doesn't crash. There we go. We'll get these lined up. We are going to need a bunch of wood for that. Looks like the food gathering is getting close to done. And I haven't paid close attention. I don't know if you get more wood from larger trees, but I assume so. You can actually click on these and see that it says medium oak tree. And some of these smaller ones, he's just a sapling. So let's see. We could do this one and then maybe the one in the back here. And let's keep an eye on this. Let's see. So she's going to chop it down. We got 2 wood out of there. Just 2. Actually, there's a couple more. It looks like 4 total. So that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on the bigger tree and see what that one's all about. Let's kind of pan out here. Just make sure, yeah, I'm not seeing any like ocean or river stuff. I think that stuff will come later. But the game does run pretty well. It's pretty smooth. It is contained to a certain area. There is an edge, kind of outer limit to the area you have to work with. And I do believe that was going to remain throughout the progress of the game. I'm pretty sure that there will always be some set limit. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to remember back a ways, and I think that was kind of the idea. Now, if you head to their site, they've got a wiki up for it, and they have a development blog. Stonehearth.net has information about the game, and then they have the wiki is up at stonehearth.gamepedia.com. And over on that wiki, they actually have a pretty cool, I forgot what they called it. They have kind of a, it's like a status of where the development is that, as they said, they shamelessly copied from Starbound. So it's essentially a map that's got different areas on the map for the different aspects they could be working on, like structures, items, things like that, multiplayer. And you can see a percentage of how far they progressed. And as you would imagine, at this point, those numbers are kind of low. They're pretty low. So let's see, I kind of stopped paying attention, but you can see over here 5, got 9 wood. I think they carried back 2, so 1 or 2, so there could have been 10, 11 wood from that larger tree, so quite a bit more. Let's go ahead and get these started. So we can queue those up. All of this, all the berries are back, so that's pretty good. That stuff comes back pretty quick. For some reason, it's sitting on the ground. They're not putting it in the stockpile. I'm not sure. Are you going to move it to the stockpile, or are you going to... No, you're going to sit down and eat it. Okay. So if we zoom in here on the building, you can see they've got scaffolding here. They basically set up... There's kind of a progression. I think they start with the outer column, then they do the scaffolding, and then the walls. Or it could be that scaffolding comes up once the wall's done. I'm not really sure. So you kind of get that visual cue of where things are going. And it actually looks like they build the scaffolding as they build the wall, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool, I would imagine, when you get a really big city going and you've got a lot of construction going on at once. At a glance, you could tell there's a lot going on. Now, one of the things I have not done, I'm just realizing, is I did place the banner here because we had food, we had wood nearby, and we have the stone, and I'm not gathering stone yet. I tried clicking on the stone and telling them to kind of gather that, but I don't recall there being an option. We're going to go ahead and do a stockpile here. Select it. We're going to say it's for stone. And then let's see. See, I can't select the stone, which is what you would normally do on anything else. You get the gathering options, but that's a no-go on the stone. So let's see. I'm looking at their, like, what's in alpha, and it says harvesting resources, wood, berries, etc. So stone isn't explicitly mentioned, but it says etc. Gotta imagine it could be in there, but I don't have that option, so we'll leave that. We'll leave the stockpile there, and maybe if they had nothing else to do, they would get stone. I don't know, but let's see here. Oh, maybe this is what I needed to do in order to craft new stuff. Let's check it out. Aha! Okay, so we have fences here, which is interesting because there is a note in the a note that talks about the alpha build that says try building a fence. So let's take a look, because I have not looked over the screen before. So we can do fences here. Can I select? We've got some other things here. I don't know if we can actually make any of this other stuff. Let's start with a fence though. So if we select that, it requires 2 wood resources, which we've got wood laying around. These guys are not organized. They're cluttering up the place. 2 wood resources, so I can craft 1 right now. Maintain 1 in inventory. I'm not sure what that's all about. And now I can't seem to... There we go. Can get it back there. Let's try and... Can we raise the quantity here? Kind of furiously clicking around in here, but it doesn't look like it. Okay, 1. And I don't see a... Ah, we click the axe, or the the axe, the saw. I think this should probably say craft on it, just always. Okay. So we've got 1. Let's click this. Can we click it? Doesn't do anything. Can we drag it? Yeah, we can drag it around here. I wonder if that's for the queue. That's interesting. Let's do this. Yeah. Okay, so you can queue things up. Interesting. We'll go ahead and craft. Can you do, like, what happens when you start getting a lot? Ah, they have arrows. Which I couldn't seem to do anything with. But that's cool. Let's see what happens. Hopefully we'll get to building some fences. I wonder if we can undo the craft request here. Doesn't look like it. Because I'd really like to get some fences made. But it's nighttime and people need their sleep. That's fine, I guess. Okay, the sun is coming up over our very small village. And I'm trying to decide if I lost some people. I've got 2 working on the house here. 1 is over here, kind of off to the side. So I'm seeing 3, but I had 5. Pan out here. Where are they at? Lazy settlers. Probably sitting by a tree somewhere being lazy. Alright, well, I don't know where they went. They just disappeared. In the meantime, I went and looked up some quick information. In case you are curious, the game, you can buy into this alpha right now. Obviously, as I said, I funded the Kickstarter for some amount, I don't recall, that got this early access. And right now you can, through Humble Bundle, spend $15 to pre-order the game now and get it when it releases next year, actually in September, so it's got quite a ways to go. Or you can pay the $30 and get instant access to this very same alpha. So let's see, I really wanted to get a get some fences made. I just don't know what's happening with those. Let's zoom back in here and see if I can did these get made, or don't seem to do anything with these. I'm assuming these are just still queued up. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm not really sure. So, I have a feeling that I'm not going to really be able to do anything until they get these houses built up, at least as far as they can. And then at that point, it might be that they start putting the wood in the stockpile as they should have been doing this whole time. I'm now noticing that there's 4 of them here, so I guess perhaps I'm only missing 1. Oh, he's stuck in the house. I see you in there. It's funny because I think this happened to one of the developers during one of their streams on Twitch, and they were explaining that was a that was something that could happen. So anyway, cool. He's keeping warm and being lazy. But I think once these guys are done, like I said, that we might be able to see some kind of progress in some of these other areas. But in the meantime, I guess we just kind of wait it out. They're slow going. We're 1 down. This other one is so hungry. It's been eating forever. What is wrong with you? I can't even tell what she's doing. She's staring at her palm. There's something in those berries, I think.
Something in those berries.
Well, I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for my very quick and very early view of Stonehearth. As I said before, I'm very excited about this game. Really looking forward to the progress of it. And yeah, pretty good start here. They've got a good foundation going, as they said, and at this point it's going to be fixing some bugs and putting out a lot of gameplay stuff. So things are going to move pretty quickly here, and I will be revisiting this game multiple times, I'm sure, and keeping you guys updated with the progress. So thanks again, as always, for stopping in and checking this out. I appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.